Hi again. Just want to talk in this session about a little about anxiety and depression and how you can do something about it. There's a lot of people now that, they describe themselves as suffering from anxiety or depression, or both anxiety and depression, or suffering from stress. And it's almost like it's a very passive thing. It's like, I've got this disease and there's nothing I can do about it. I can get therapy or I'm on medication, but it's something that has affected me and I'm struggling. And I'm the recipient of this, and it's out of my control. So I think one of the keys about managing that is to change that notion that it's something that there's nothing you can do about. There are lots of things, lots of strategies that we can do to manage anxiety and depression and make it better. So lots of things that you can do. And one of the most important things is taking control. Taking control, and also taking control of your health. You deciding on the therapy and what you want to do about it, and also your progress, so going as fast or as slow as you want to, so that you're in the driving seat. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that there are lots of aspects that people ignore. So for most people, what they think about is like medication, and then there's psychological therapy like CBT or acceptance or psychotherapy. Those are the only things that matter. But there's a whole world of other aspects to anxiety and depression that most people don't even think about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the physical side. The physical side is so important. Your brain is an organ like the rest of your body, and if it's not working properly for a physical reason, then of course you're going to have symptoms. So when your gut isn't working well, you get abdominal pain or indigestion. But when your brain's not working, then you get anxiety or feelings of unease or depression. We've got to look at the brain as a physical organ and work out how to best keep it functioning. So what we eat is very, very important. Eating the right food, eating the right diet to get your brain working is so important. So if you're eating junk food all the time, well, of course you're not going to be well. It doesn't matter how much psychotherapy you have. Your brain is going to be suffering from all of the food additives that we get in our diet now. So from the pesticides and the fertilizers that are spread on the food to all the chemicals that are added in processed food products. So anything that you buy in a packet or a tin is going to have a lot of food additives. And in some cases, there's hardly any real food in it at all, hardly any nutrition. So no protein or vitamins or minerals. And these are the things that our brain runs on. Our brain needs vitamins and minerals to make all our brain hormones. And if you don't have those building blocks, then you're going to be deficient in those hormones. So it's just logical, really. So it's a bit like having a fancy sports car and not putting any gas in it. So our brains, our whole body, in fact, is a miracle of engineering. It's just a fantastic thing. It can do so much physically. You see Olympic athletes doing these amazing things. And you see really smart people coming up with all this technology. But even the ordinary average person like you and me, we still have this amazing body and this amazing brain that we can do so much with. And so you've got to think, how can I make that work better? So it needs fuel. So it is like a sports car. Your body and your brain, just like mine, is like a sports car, a high performance engine that needs the right fuel and the right looking after. So how can we do that? Well, the first thing is eating fresh food and getting rid of foods that are not helpful. And I go into that in more detail in other places, but getting rid of the junk food is a really good step, and just eating real food that's either cooked at home or cooked in a restaurant or a cafe that takes care and cooks things from fresh ingredients. And then making sure we don't restrict our diet too much, so that we have enough protein, we get enough minerals and vitamins, so that we can make all those brain hormones like serotonin and dopamine that keep us happy. And then we've got to think about our gut. So many of those brain hormones are made in our gut. And we have nerves that link our brain and our gut together, like the vagus nerve, which is a really important nerve in our body. And it's sort of a two-way street. When we are stressed or anxious, whatever, the vagus nerve is sending messages to the brain and to the gut. But also, if our gut's not working properly, then that can also affect how our brain works. So it's a sort of circular thing that you need to get right from the word go. So gut health is really important. So making sure that you have, probiotics, very simple, straightforward thing to do, but also that you're feeding your gut the right food that will encourage healthy bacteria to grow and allow your gut to work properly. And then taking out foods that may affect your gut and may interfere with the absorption of nutrients, like grains and wheat. Like a lot of people now can't tolerate wheat. Just wait till this plane goes over. I'm recording near an airport, and so every now and again planes come over. Making sure that you're feeding your gut all the right foods that will feed the healthy bacteria, will keep bad bacteria at bay, parasites, and these sort of things will all be, washed out of the body, and you're just left with mostly the healthy bacteria in control. So that's so important for our brain function. So those are the physical aspects. And then there's other things we can do to keep our brains working properly, like regular exercise and getting out in the fresh air and interacting with nature. So I'm sitting out in the fresh air at the moment, interacting with nature, but technology is coming in as well. And we're having the planes going overhead. But you can, even going out for a walk outside in the forest or in the park can actually improve your gut health. You can inhale healthy bacteria from just walking around in the forest or in the natural area, and then that can help improve your gut health generally. So really, really important. And of course, we all know these things, but we find them hard to do. Today's world, we're so busy and we've got a lot of things to worry about, and so we don't always do them. So one of the things you can do is make a priority in your life to look at your diet, and also make sure you get outside in contact with nature, and also get plenty of vitamin D from sunlight, because that's a low vitamin D is a major factor in depression particularly, but also in anxiety. So you really want to make sure you have good levels of vitamin D. So we've talked about diet, we've talked about gut health. Those are the physical sides. But then we've also got the social side. So where's our place in the community? So loneliness is a huge problem these days, and also lack of support. A lot of people have no one to talk to, no one to help with their problems. So in the past we would have had a lot of family members we could have talked to, and that would have helped us resolve issues and and given us support, maybe with childcare or food or finances, whatever. The community would have helped out. Now we're all trying to manage on our own. We have small nuclear family groups, mum and dad and the kids. It's really hard to raise kids on your own without granny and grandpa and aunts and uncles and cousins. So you're very lucky if you have extended family living near you. But then we've got a lot of people who are also living on their own. So they may be single, or they're divorced or separated, and so they're living in these little pods on their own. Maybe they don't have a lot of friends or connections, and so it can be really very lonely for people. And that's a huge producer of anxiety and depression. So we want to make sure that we have well developed all these social networks. It's all very well staying at home all day playing computer games and talking to people online, but there's something different about face-to-face contact. There's a more of an interaction as just looking at someone and listening and talking to them. There's a sort of ethereal quality that maybe we haven't quite put our finger on what happens, but we know that there is some sort of unspoken communication between people when they sit together. And I'm not just talking about facial expressions and non-verbal communication, but on a different level, more like ESP. I know I've experienced that, and you may have noticed it yourself, that one of the easy things you can do to experience this is just go to somewhere where it's busy, like a shopping mall or a street with cafes in it, and just have a look around at people and pick someone and just look at them for a couple of minutes. They won't be looking at you, so don't pick someone that's looking at you, but somebody who's just going about their business. And very quickly they will know that you're looking at them, and they'll look up and they'll look in your direction, because something has told them that they're being looked at by somebody else. Now, how do they know that? They didn't hear you, they didn't see you, they were busy doing something, and but somehow or other that communication, that message is gone to them. Somebody is looking at you, and so it's on a higher consciousness level. We haven't, as I said, quite understood it, but it's very much there. And it's a great thing, because this would have helped us very much in the past to be aware of when predators were watching us, were stalking us. So maybe a saber-toothed tiger or a lion, something like that. That ESP, that higher consciousness, that what some people call your sixth sense, was very important. And it was very important to have that well developed, and so that you could recognize it and use it, because the people who listened to their intuition that something was stalking them were the ones that survived and managed to get away from the predator. So it's very important that we listen to that aspect of ourselves and develop it. And some people it comes very easy, some people have to work at it a little bit harder. They've maybe got a lot more things going on in their brain that they weren't aware of. So there's all sorts of aspects to anxiety and depression that aren't just talked about in a normal therapy. And so we need to address all of those for people to feel better and take control of their health. So in future sessions, I will be talking more about how we go about managing anxiety and depression and all these different modalities. And also, people can have access to my course, which will be free for subscribers to this channel, and you'll be able to find a link to it. So keep listening for more and more information that I'm going to share with you and my experience in dealing with anxiety and depression over 30 years. So I've seen a lot and heard a lot, and I've also worked with addiction for over 10 years as well. So I have a lot of experience and a lot that I want to share with you, and I hope that it will be my giving back to society, and also that you'll get some help from this, and it will help whatever else you're doing to help your anxiety and depression. This will add to it and complement it. So I look forward to talking to you again soon.